Okay, we are back for show number 2/3. Something to that effect. We are doing some stuff tonight. We missed our show 2 tonight because Aman was flying in from the UK, got tangled up somewhere, I'm sure. That happens when you're flying in from such a distance. So we should be good. We're streaming at 720, and I can see that it's not dropping frames this time. I could see frames dropping before. Jeremy.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Oh, fantastic. This is going to be fun.
This is gonna be fun. And I've after our last show where we dug in and talked about some ideas with projectors, I've had people basically say they wanted us to dig into that a little bit more. So I've been looking forward to tonight as we can talk a little bit more about ways to make money with projectors and Gobos. So
Definitely. All right. And we're going to focus on a lot of the corporate charity and you can use this for a lot of different events, even school events, even wedding upsells, if you have somebody that really wants to get creative with it. But I found that with a lot of the corporate events and schools and charities that they have the bigger budgets and, there's a lot more need to be more precise with some of your projections. So,
yeah. Well, let's kind of jump into it now.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to jump over here to my screen share. So are we good? You see it?
Yep, there it is. I'm going to switch so that they can see just that and not
me.
Well, yeah, exactly. Otherwise, I see the bottom of our chins. I see our chin, and that's it.
All right. So you just got my whole screen here. Okay, so we're just going to jump into this because there is a lot to talk about, and I always run over. So wanted to talk about, like I said, using projectors and projection in general for corporate and charity events. Here's just a list of some of the things that we've done in the past, where you have your digital Gobos, where you can do static, you can do single or multiple logos in the same projector, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. Animated and themed digital Gobos, exit Gobos, and like I said, I'm going to show you all this stuff where you can kind of do personalized messages, social media hashtags, employee name recognition, and sponsors and donor recognition. These are all important things for corporate events. And these are all related to their branding as well. And they're very important. They take their branding very seriously. So this is a lot of different ways that you can upsell your event. Also, too, getting down beyond the whole logos and branding, you can get into theme decor projections, both static and animated. And of course, what do you do with those video projector screens when you're done with your projection or, with the whole presentation and slideshow and montage or whatever? Do a live social media feed. That's some fun stuff. And I don't know if we'll get into the cake mapping, but you can do cake mapping not for wedding events. You can do it for, I did it for a 1-year anniversary party for a corporate event. And it was really cool. So, and of course you can use projectors for photo montages and slideshows, but we're not going to talk about that. All right.
Those are future shows.
Yeah. Some of the selling points when you're talking about, you can use a lot of the same selling points that you can with weddings that you can with corporates. Of course, when you're projecting a company's logo, you have the flexibility with the projector to do full color logo projections. That means you can match their logo exactly. It's going to be a lot cheaper than if you're going to get a glass Gobo made with a Source 4. And of course, the positioning is more versatile, what we talked about before. And so yeah, with that, they, like I said, they take their branding very, very seriously. You have to get it looking just right. So,
Jeremy, let's pause just there for one quick second.
Yeah.
The color that let's say we're going to be doing, I did a Coca-Cola one. We're going to use the Coca-Cola logo.
Yep.
What we see on our screen may or may not look like what I'm seeing up from my projector.
So yeah, I mean, when you're the graphic design software that you design on your computer, you want to make sure that your brightness and your contrast when you're projecting in a projector isn't all jacked up. Like the contrast is really going to affect your color. There are different color settings inside, inside the projector, like dynamic and hues and presentation versus movie mode.
Yep.
That's a whole nother show. I'm sorry. We have to do a part 2 to digital Gobos.
But there are ways to fix that if I'm noticing that.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that. And
okay. I'll make a note and we'll talk about that next time for sure. So again, you can do your fast last minute turnaround. You can do something, you get a call that day of, you can do an upsell where you can sell a Gobo. You can do multiple logos with one projector, and that is a big thing. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit for sure. And just some other general selling points. Everyone wants to top last year's event. That's like, it's almost like getting into the mitzvah world. When you do corporate events, like I said, they want to top last year's event. And photos from this year's event can help market for next year's event.
Oh,
so
yeah.
these are kind of things to help you upsell. Fundraisers also too, I found that it seems like the more, I don't want to say spectacular, but I did put that in there. The more, special that these people feel when they're attending, the more likely they are to donate, because they're like, wow, this is something really cool to be a part of. So I don't know, it kind of puts them in a better mood, kind of like Las Vegas, all the flashing lights. And then also too, having this logo up on the wall, a big full color, these people are really proud of their brand. So when they see this up on the wall, they're going to take selfies with that in the background, which then hits social media, and it's free marketing. So that's the social media gold. I use that it's like a natural watermark. And these are a lot of my big selling points for corporate clients.
Jeremy, just to let you know, I just did a little insert with you and I so that people can actually see us as you're talking. So
okay, so I can't. Okay, I'll have to make sure I know that.
Yeah, we are on the screen. So I just put it up there so that way they can see us talking and such.
Yeah, because I'm not going to be on here for the most part. I have a lot of photos and videos. Nobody wants to look at me. You want to look at all this. So here's just a few examples of just some basic digital Gobo corporate logos that we've done. Of course, outside, they're just full color and they look really good. On the ground, when you're outside, at an outdoor event, you can't do it. So this is your basic, just like a monogram, but you do it in full color. And the cool thing is that you're going to have a lot more ammo, or I guess more resources when you're working with the corporate client. They're going to be able to give you a high-res image of their logo or a vector or something, so you can actually make this look really beautiful when it's nice and large. And you're not going to, sometimes when you do weddings, you get these little JPEGs, like a 5K JPEG, that they just stole from a website or they created in Microsoft Paint. You get better quality, better content with corporates.
Wow, you're looking really good on that picture.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I love my suit. Yeah.
You rock that. Sweet.
Here was it's a charity event that we do every year, and this is a Las Vegas themed one. So we were able to project, up on the wall. And this is your backdrop. I mean, if you do it right and you add a little personality to it, you can create a backdrop for your event. And they don't need this big fancy pipe and drape or whatever. You can do a lot with video.
So that what we're seeing at WIG Wig Out or whatever, that's two projectors, one on each.
It is. I would normally do it with one projector, but because of this column right here, it divided it. So we had to do it from two projectors that were coming from the harsh angles of the room, like 45 degrees.
Oh, so that's not on the top of those totems.
No. You would need a short throw projector if you're doing with that, but then you wouldn't have the keystoning that you have with your normal projectors. And by the way, last time when we talked, people were wondering, well, what is quick corner, keystoning or corner adjustment? I did a video today. I sent it to you. We can post it wherever, but I talked about and I showed you how to keystone and grab each corner to make it perfect when you're shooting from really harsh angles.
Nice. So. Cool. I'll have to take a look at that. I have not seen it. I've been running around.
Yeah, right. All right, so here we have multiple logos in one projector. Now, this is the biggest selling point that I tell people, is that you're not limited to one projector. Before when you had Source 4s, you had to have multiple Source 4s. You had to have, you can only do one logo per location. But you can see up here in the top left, the LPGA one, 3 logos right there, and it looks beautiful. If that was done traditionally with glass Gobos and Source 4s, not only would it look like a mess of lights over there, but it could get anywhere up to about $1,500 to $2,000 just to do that one effect.
And of course, you'd have some light bleed, I would guess, from one Source 4 to the next, or
yeah, and you wouldn't be able to get it as perfect. I mean, you could, but it would take a lot of math, and it's the spacing here. It just looks really good.
So now, where in this picture, approximately, where would that projector have been put?
This one, luckily, we were lucky enough to put it directly across from it.
Okay.
And it was probably about 50 feet away.
Okay.
Now, the one on the right here, with all these logos here, this was the most logos we've ever done in one projection. This is 11 logos with one projector. And this was from about 100 feet away. This one was directly across as well. But, whenever you can, I go from directly across, but a lot of times you can't. So that's where you can do the harsh angles with the keystoning.
So what did you export that image when you created that with all those logos?
That's just a JPEG. Basically, you're going to create your JPEG. All of these are just their color logo on a black JPEG. And you're going to have that JPEG is basically going to be 1920 by 1080 or 1280 by 800, depending on the resolution of your projector. But I always just default for 1920 by 1080.
You just match the resolution of the projector, and that's what you're going to your work area then. I got
that's the largest you can go. So why go larger than that?
Yeah.
You know. And down here, it's a cheap little one, but this was just to show you in full light. I mean, just, again, you can do multiple logos in one projection. So,
Jeremy, got a couple of questions. You mentioned a 100-foot throw. What projector model? What we're using, or was that more of the lens than a projector?
No. We use fixed lens projectors. So it's basically your prosumer projectors. It's the Epson 1940W. That's the one that we use. It's a 4200 lumen projector. And it's fantastic. It is an LCD projector, so versus DLP projectors, you are going to get more of that dreaded gray box. But honestly, you see here, it's never an issue. I can count like 10% of the time that it's an issue. But I do like the DLPs. But still, this is a really nice projector.
Very good, very good. Another question was how much to get started with some of the gear and the software?
Well, the software, all the software so far that you've seen is all basically just the projector, a USB drive, or USB whistle, or sorry, we call them whistles, jump drive,
yep.
And just a photo editor. So you could do it in Microsoft Paint, you could do it in whatever, but we use Photoshop.
Sure.
But that aside, because you have so many free options out there, the projector is about $1,000, and then the stand. The tripod, the stand, and then the mount to mount it on there. Michael Anderson from Living Motion Monograms has a really great mount, Projectogram. All these guys have really good mounts, and that's about 150, 170, I forget. I always buy them when they're on sale. So
yeah, buy them from a trade show.
Yeah, but I love Michael Anderson's mount. His new one is really fantastic. So with the Living Motion Monograms. Hopefully I got that right. All right, so here's another. So moving beyond just the straight up logo that you're going to project. I mean, because that's the logo is kind of equivalent to the wedding monogram. It's their branding, their logo. Here we're going to get into some of the more creative ways to use your projector. Just like you do at a monogram or projecting that logo, you can project personalized messages and other, really anything, really any other content. Here, this is almost a simple white or white logo, but we just added the red banner in there, and it gives us a nice 3D effect.
Yeah, looks nice.
Kind of contrast. And over here, this is for a NACE National Conference. They wanted to project their hashtag out in the hallway, the lobby, before you go into the conference room. And it was the Day of the Dead theme for the whole party. So we kind of tied it all together. And, this, I do with Photoshop and Illustrator. I mean, I do, it helps to have these other programs to kind of put it all together. And I'll also show you a bunch of free resources for finding vector art and, some stock art to make these things nice. But the sky's the limit with projectors. We've projected little kids' faces or people's photos up there too. So going into exit gobos, this is something kind of, I don't know if it's really so new, but I don't see this a whole lot, and this is a fantastic way to upsell outside of the party. So this is a way to extend the whole branding of the event or their logo outside the party. When people are leaving, they've left the party, they think they're done. Oh, that was fantastic, it looked great. They're walking out to the car, valet, and they look down, and there's another logo says, "Thank you for coming." It's a huge upsell for corporate clients, and we're starting to do them for weddings as well. So this one down here at the bottom right, I'll show you that in a minute. That's an animated one, but I just wanted to show you the projector is up here on the second floor. All these other ones, it's just on a 12-foot tripod.
Okay,
that's it. You just zoom out your projector and you're good to go. You have to kind of figure out what distance you need for your projector, but most of the time a 12-foot tripod will be fine. This one was just really big. All right, so to show you, this is an animated exit Gobo. And this one, again, this is what we're going to do for weddings as well, but this was for a WIPA event, and had little fireworks in there. And again, this is as people are leaving. You could do the static or the animated one. The animated one, what we do with this is, aside from the creation of the image, but you just need an external media player. And you can get them off of Amazon for like $40.
Yep.
And they work wonderful. You can always hook up a laptop to these as well. But I find I'm putting this outside. I don't want to leave my laptop out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're $40. They're great just to have them as a backup. These little Amazon media players. So here is
what program did you make that animated one? I'm sorry.
I do everything in Premiere.
Okay.
Adobe.
Premiere. Yep.
Yeah. And again, in this one too, this was all done. This is the original logo that they gave us, and they said just have fun with it. And so this is what we ended up doing. Yeah, it's playing. So we put the clouds and the big thank you. It's a big charity fundraiser. So as they're coming out, again, this is just bigger. And again, you don't have to get this complicated, but you can, and it's really cool. Yeah. Animating the flag, that was just an easy little effect in Premiere. I was kind of happy to find that. It's a water effect.
Yeah, no, that's a neat effect.
This one got us several other events, and we're doing a big event for NAU up in Flagstaff, where they're going to thank all their donors, and they want this to play on the building as people are leaving and catching the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Outdoors, this one here is a big charity event we do every year, and you can see here again. Really, it's just the cost effectiveness that you have when you're getting into Gobos, versus the glass Gobo. This was a neat one. We actually did a time. I don't know if you can hear it. They're counting down. So we did a big bridge lighting, and they just went crazy on it. And initially, we just tied it in. You can use the freeze or the mute AV mute blackout button on your projector. And you could have it blacked out, and when everybody counts down, you just turn it on, and it pops up. It's a simple effect, and you don't even need any external hardware for that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a little a trick. When you have a lot of names or sponsor logos that you need to get up there, and you got to have equal billing. You can't put one logo on top of another, or one in the beginning of the line and one at the end of the line. People get really butthurt about that. So here's an interesting way to use the in the projector that we have. It has an internal slideshow program, and this is what we do. We just make a bunch of JPEGs, and we just format them so nothing changes except for the name. All the formatting around it stays the same, and I'll show you that here. So this one here, that was the main logo, but here just the name is going to change. And so that way that's running all through Cocktail. Here's the second year we did it. We did it in a tent where there's no walls. So we went to the ceiling. So that was kind of fun.
Cool.
But again, we have like this one here, we had about 150 names that we had to recognize throughout the night. So in Adobe Premiere, we just use their kind of movie credit scroll effect. And again, here's another one where we do a lot of logos for a military ball. It's all the different divisions of the military, so we need to have them equal representation all night long.
Very cool.
Yeah, and here's where the same concept, but we just added a themed element to it, where we took the theme of the event and we put everybody's logo superimposed onto this themed border that we created. And then you just use the internal slideshow program from your projector. Or you can hook up a laptop. I mean, I'm not saying no to that. I just like to make it as concise as possible. And some of the other themed that we do. Always find out if a corporate event has a theme, because if you roll with it, they're going to love you forever.
Cool.
One thing I was going to say, when you're doing multiple names and logo, switching, the logos are on a roll or a loop. It's great for cocktails, it's great for dinner, great for dancing. But when there's somebody on stage talking, just like when the bride and groom is doing their first dance, you don't want that slideshow rolling. You freeze it or go to the main event logo, or even just black it out.
Sure.
But you don't want it to be a distraction.
Yeah, for sure. Jeremy, let's put a hold on this. We're going to get a word from our sponsors here. We'll be back in just a few seconds. We've got our sponsors for our summer 2016 shows.
Hits USA from RPM. Our name says it all. Get the latest hits while they're the hottest. With Top Hits USA, you'll have the track for sure. Visit tophitsusa.com or call 800-521-2537 and get a free demo.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Okay, we are back, and Jeremy is right in the middle of showing us some incredible work that they do with projectors and gobos and such. And now, Jeremy, this looks like two different rooms.
It does, doesn't it? It really does.
It does.
And, you know, the venues love photos like this because, I mean, they know what their rooms look like. And then when you show them how it can look, they love it. So, you know, this client wanted a Western theme, but they didn't want cowboy boots and spurs and hats on the wall. So we went with the Western skyline theme. And these are two different projectors, obviously, and they're about 80 feet apart, you know, throw distance from directly across the room, just jacked up as high as you can. And it just fills in. It's nice because we can, you know, we had to keystone it down so these top parts were perfect in this. You don't want to see it rubbing up on the ceiling, you know. So that's where that comes in handy. Here's some other examples that you can use for just for decor theme elements. Of course, Alice in Wonderland here and St. Patrick's Day. Again, finding all these things online, just anything you find online is game, really. You know, as long as you can isolate it into a black background. And these weren't, we made it look like ripped pages out of a book because it was a classic Alice in Wonderland.
Sure.
And then here, I'm going to talk about this. This is a whole bunch of different animated elements. A lot of the stuff we talked about so far is non-animated. When you get an animated, of course, you're stepping up the level of complexity, but you get some really big wow factors. And you'll see down here, you know, your Batman disco theme, the Hyper logo, just real quick before I hit play. All we did was take in Premiere, we just took some club visuals and kind of put a hexagon frame around it, a black frame. So it kind of broke it up. It didn't look like a big rectangle video projector. So it kind of gave it a little more of an element to it. And then of course the snowfall. The snowfall on the bottom right is one of our biggest sellers. We do tons of those every year. You already saw the one in the top left. Here, I'm going to pause it real quick because there's a lot going on. We did another Alice in Wonderland theme where everybody was upstairs in the cocktail party, and to welcome everybody downstairs, we just played this little loop of the rabbit running, you know, I'm late, I'm late, I'm late. And so they followed him theoretically down the rabbit hole downstairs to the party. It was a really cool thing. And we just used the internal speaker from the projector, which is just right up here behind this door. So, I mean, it's really close. But it was really cool. As you walk by, you hear the rabbit. It's fantastic. The bottom right here is champagne bubbles. They wanted everybody to feel like they were in a champagne lounge. We had 3 projectors going on this one, and it looks really cool. And then DHL down here on the left, we used this pipe and drape to play some promo videos during the cocktail. But then when they're welcoming everybody in, this is what happens. So this is kind of like a grand entrance event where everybody walks into the room.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a neat thing. And outdoors, of course, when you're outdoors, you have to really bump up the lumens. We had a 10,000 lumen projector on that one. If it was at night, I tried to tell them, if it's at night, that would be fantastic. But, it's really hard when you're doing it like during the daytime.
Oh, yeah.
But the bubbles one, the champagne bubbles, that was a fantastic one. Just a really neat things you can do right there.
So Jeremy, we're getting a few questions now about pricing and such, what the clients are.
Yeah, that's a big question, right?
Yeah.
So what do you charge for these things? All right, so typically what we do for an animated monogram, like the disco one on the top left, that one, really it's the cost of your normal Gobo projector, whether it be, your static one, whether it be like a, 250, 300, whatever you charge. And then we just add the time it takes to create the graphic, which is usually about an hour in my time. So I usually do about $50 an hour. And then, depends on the complexity again. And then, the extra labor to bring out the media player or laptop, whatever you're going to do with that. But most of our animated Gobos that are simple like this, like the Hyper, Batman, anywhere from $400 to $500 typically. The Snowfall one we do for about, again, $400 to $500. It depends. Like this one actually is 2 projectors just because I want to get that Happy Holidays GCRC perfect. And when you're trying to make the Snowfall as big as possible, you're kind of making it really big, but yet you want the logo to be perfect.
So one projector did the logo, the text, and the other did the Snowfall.
Yeah, you could get into like doing Archaos or some layering program, but we just find it easier to do the two projectors. But yeah, that's some of the pricing that we do there. Most of our animated stuff will end up being, if you get into more complex stuff and custom stuff, it can be $500 to $1,000. But again, a lot of it's going to be in your content creation because you need to have the resources to get the isolated disco ball, to be able to create the Batman logo, just certain things that you need to have, just like your music.
Question was on the with the bubble wall or even the snow. How do you keep people from getting in the way of that effect?
All right, so
we can see it a little bit on a couple of the people there.
Yeah, you see right here in the bottom right, it's on them. It's going to be. Because people want a floor to ceiling effect. And if you're going down to the floor, unless you're really up in the ceiling, you're still going to get it on people. But the key to me, and when we do fireworks for first dances as well, projections, you want to have, get it as high as possible, just high as possible. Oh, you can see the projector, this one right here. That's as high as we go. It was only like 10, 11 feet, maybe. I think it was about 10 feet up in the air. So it's not that bad, really. And the bubbles were kind of a broken up enough effect that it wasn't really blinding people.
Sure.
If you're doing like a full color effect, yeah, it might a little bit, but only when people are really close to the wall, if they're about 6 feet in front of the wall. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's not that bad of an effect. Did that cover all those questions for that?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. Yep. It's we're kind of running tight on time here.
I know. The last thing I just wanted to show you is what do you do with this video, the projector screens? Never mind projecting on a wall. You could do this on a wall. But, I know a live social media feed from Instagram and Twitter is a great use for those projector screens when the photo montage is done. And this is easy. There's a bunch of programs out there or software, websites rather, that are cheap or free. And swanscreen.com and Hash Slider is really good. I'll show you a post of those real quick. And then also too, we do club visuals on the screens, using our Chaos Grand VJ or just whatever else you want to do. But it's just ideas to utilize these screens, what I call dead times, really. Yeah. So, and here's, I'm just going to zip by this. You can come back to it and check it out. But here's a whole bunch of different, software, or these resources here. And then, if you want to get into projection mapping, just real quick while I'm talking about it, we did this cake mapping, like I said, not for a wedding, but we did it for a 1-year anniversary for this venue, where on each tier we show their videos from their past year. So you can use this stuff for corporate events. So the same thing you're selling for weddings, sell it for corporates. So that was the champagne bubble one. Yeah, that was just another just projection mapping thing where we kind of created this freestanding display where it had a logo going. Just anything to create visual interest. Just weird stuff. I don't know. Just having fun with it.
Yeah.
And those are artist canvases that we picked up from a local, art supply store. So we were able to just kind of harness, kind of build those all together. So it was lightweight, and they're a great projection surface.
Yeah, for sure. And you put them up on a totem, and you
put it was really good.
Yeah.
Here are some resources. Like I said, I'm just going to zip through these so that way you guys can come back and screenshot them. But these are all great groups, Facebook groups, Living Motion Monograms, Projection Pros, Illuminate, Projectogram, all these great sources. Here are some free vector sites that you can go on to, some free places to learn how to edit and edit video and photos from lynda.com, and of course me. So
Jeremy, a quick question here. Charging for cake mapping. What
we usually go for usually about starting at 800. Honestly, I like to start at 1,000, but it kind of depends on the client and where we're doing it. But we usually do about 800 to 1,500, depending on how much of the custom graphics. Again, we've got it set pretty good to where we can do it all on one truss totem with a cantilevered arm and the projectors up there, and it shoots down onto the cake. So it's all self-encompassed there.
Cool.
But we've been working on it for about 1.5 years now, and just doing it as much as you can for free events, for trade shows and expos and industry events to give you a lot more practice.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's a lot of practice, so you know what to do and where to connect things and go from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Bounce out of the full screen stuff.
Okay.
There we are. Now you're back.
Hey, okay, I'm back.
Now we're back. We're back full screen, so everyone can see us. So, Jeremy, great stuff. Wow, there's some really, really cool stuff there. You had your email there, so gang, if you want to get a hold of Jeremy, bounce back there. You can get his email address. It was right there. And,
yes, definitely.
And now we had more questions as far as of things we need to talk about next time. I think we probably really we should dig into the tools that you're using. And maybe spend some more time with that. We'll get that this fall in a show. So, Jeremy, once again, thank you much for coming on tonight, and I'm looking forward to our next time. And then in January, we're going to be doing a really in-depth night where we're actually going to give you more than 20 minutes.
That'll be awesome, because as you can see, I got a lot of stuff to say.
For those of you watching, in January, we're going to be doing basically a virtual DJ Expo night, and it's going to be Jeremy, Mike Walter, we've got some others who will be part of it, and they're going to be digging in and doing a presentation for you live on our chat, similar to what we did tonight, but it's going to be with a dedicated time where he can go and cover stuff and really dig into it. So looking forward to that, looking forward to our next conversation. So thank you guys for watching. Show number 4 in the description below. Check that out. We'll be back in about probably 2 minutes with our DJN TV show tonight.
Bye, everybody.